Consumerism, especially in my home country of the United States, seems to be just out of control. It's crazy. People just have to buy like all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. We're so materialistic here. Everyone is always looking for the latest and the greatest, no matter how much we actually need it. I mean, we just, for whatever reason, we think we have to have the latest and the greatest and all these things, I guess, to make us happy. I don't know. New car, new clothes, new house, new shoes, new camera gear. I mean, whatever it is. It's something that I've noticed big time among photographers and videographers, especially in like the YouTube space. It's just this obsession with gear. You know, we're just littered with gear reviews, and I get that gear is cool and it's important, but it's just like everybody does a what's in my camera bag. But I just started thinking like, God, what is it that we're so obsessed with gear for, and instead of just the art of making photos? And so instead of asking the age-old question of does gear really matter, I want to find out, why are we so obsessed with it? Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy talking gear with my friends and other photographers, and I enjoy seeing the videos of gear reviews and seeing what different cameras can do and whatnot. It is fun. It's enjoyable and entertaining. But I think also when you're involved in the art of photography, I think you can go a little too far with obsessing over what type of gear that you actually need, and like you can fall into that rabbit hole of just wanting more and more and more and thinking you need more gear to be a better photographer, and that's not really the case. Now, I don't fall into the category of gear doesn't matter. Gear does matter to an extent. You know, that's not really what I'm trying to uncover today. What I'm trying to uncover is just why we're so obsessed with gear. At its core, gear is simply a tool for whatever it is that you're doing. Athletes, for example, a baseball player, his bat is a tool to hit the ball. Football players, their cleats and their gloves, all serve a purpose. It's gear, it's tools. Tennis players, the rackets that they use, it is a tool to hit the ball back over the net. Same thing for musicians, guitar players, they use, amplifiers and guitars and pedals, and that's all gear, again, to achieve a sound, a desired sound that they're going for. For photographers, it's camera bodies, lenses, filters or something, Lightroom as an editing tool, when we're trying to achieve a certain image or a certain look. But why is it that photographers in specifically, why is it that when we see a photograph, we tend to always fall back to, oh man, if I only had this piece of gear, I could do that too, or I could make that photograph. So to answer this, I did some very limited research online that mainly involved me just browsing around the web and reading different articles and just seeing what other people had to say on this same topic. So I took most of the common themes and the answers that I saw and compiled them here into just a short list to show you what I found. So in no particular order, here are the reasons that I found as to why we are so obsessed with camera gear. The first one is new things are just fun. With anything, you buy a new pair of shoes, a new outfit, a new camera, a new car, a new house. It's all exciting and refreshing, and it's a sense of, it's something new. It's out of the norm, but it's also human nature. So, don't beat yourself up if just for feeling that. That's just human nature to get those feelings when we acquire something new that's out of the norm or new to our life. It's almost like they call it like a shopper's high or a purchasing high or retail therapy or whatever. When you buy that item, you get that rush of, I don't know if it's endorphins or dopamine, whatever they call it, but you just get that you get that feel-good mood from buying something. Totally natural, me included. As soon as I get a new piece of gear, I never can wait to try it out, and it's just exciting. So the second one is a little more in depth, but it has to do with our pride. So how often have you seen kids like maybe 10 to 12 years old playing sport, and they are just decked out with all the gear, they've got all the gadgets and all just they look like little miniature pro athletes out there, and they're playing like Little League or something like that. I mean, it's just for fun, but they're, decked out to the nine. Having all this quality gear, it makes you feel like, you're actually really good at something, and it makes you feel kind of accomplished, like, yeah, I am a baseball player, or I am a tennis player, or I am a football player because I use this. Same thing with photography. When you see a photographer with a really big camera body and a really big lens, your first thought is like, that guy or girl must really know what they're doing. If you saw me shooting photos with like a little point and shoot, you'd probably be like, that guy's just like an amateur or something. It's kind of judging a book by its cover, but I think we simply want to look and feel like we're professional, or that we really, really know what we're doing, or we're experienced. And it goes back to that sense of pride and accomplishment. Like, it's kind of like our identity. I am a photographer, so I use really professional gear. The next one is that we simply think that it will make us better at whatever we're doing. So this is where the thin line of gear actually mattering, and it maybe not quite as much as you would like to think it does. This is kind of that thin line, right? So yes, like let's say the new Sony R5. It's technically will take higher quality pictures than like an iPhone 4, for example, right? I mean, obviously the R5 is the much better quality camera, but I will put my money on taking a great, just classic professional photographer producing a more captivating photo on that iPhone 4 than I would if you took that Sony R5 and gave it to somebody who was just starting out, right? The R5 is going to produce a much higher quality image, but it's not going to make you a better photographer, if that makes sense. Only practice and learning practice and educating yourself on photography is going to do that. So I tend to disagree with the sentiment that gear doesn't matter. Quality gear in the hands of a competent, good photographer is going to create some great photos. But I also disagree that gear will make you a better photographer, because it won't. Sure, it'll produce a higher quality photo, but photography is more than just the quality of the photo or the file. But in the same breath, world-renowned photographers are not taking photos with a Nokia flip phone. So it's difficult. It's like a fence we're walking on. So where does that leave us with this? Well, gear absolutely does matter. So let me just get that out of the way. But you probably do not need the latest and the greatest of everything. Depending on what you do with your photography, gear with substantial quality is going to help you, especially if you're in the professional realm. Gear is not going to make you better at the craft of photography. Practice and learning are what's going to do that. But why then are we so obsessed with gear? Well, I think it's just because we love to buy new things. We're under the impression that maybe it will make us better, to be taken maybe a little more seriously, but we probably just care a little too much about what other people think of us anyways. So I'd like to end with, I'm not bashing anyone. I'm not bashing anyone who has the latest and greatest gear by any means. I mean, hell, I wish I could have all the latest and greatest gear. With that said, I do have quality gear. I'm currently shooting on a Sony a7 IV, Sigma 14-24. I've got a Blue Yeti mic, a nice MacBook. So I do have really quality gear. But I think the message here is that we just need to really love and appreciate what we do have, and just simply enjoy the process of creating photos. Photography is just one of the most beautiful things that I've ever discovered. And I think that should be the focus more so than the type of gear we're using. But having said that, I'd also be lying if I didn't tell you that I just really can't wait for the next piece of photography gear that I'm going to buy. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. These were just, I don't know, it's something that's been in the back of my mind for a while. And I figured I'd just do a quick talking head video on it, even though talking head videos are boring. If you like this video, maybe think about hitting that subscribe button, following. I love you guys, and I love making videos, so I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.